Hello, this is Code Wills, and I'm going to be showing you guys today how to create a template in Constant Contact to be able to ask your customers how well they like their experience today in the store. So this is a sample of what we're going to have hopefully by the time this is all said and done. And it should be set up in a way that'll be really nice for you guys because whenever somebody selects that they had a really good experience, like a 4 or 5 star, whenever they click on that, it's going to take them directly to your store's website to leave a review. And if that customer is one of those customers that really did not have a great experience or were frustrated with whatever our service was, if they were to select a bad review, instead of taking them there, it's going to take them to a little feedback form that you guys made so that they can provide feedback to you guys instead of trying to provide that feedback to Google directly. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. The first step of doing this is that we're going to need to create that form that you guys saw for the 1 to 3 star review customers. Whenever I'm creating forms, I love to use Google Forms. So if you want to do that, you'll just go to drive.google.com. Probably already have a Google account, but if not, sign up for one. Then you'll just select New, come down here to More, and you'll see that there's an option for forms right there. So you'll go ahead and open up a form, and you can make this really as simplistic or as complicated as you want. I just called, this is going to be an internal name for the form. You can call it customer response form. And if you have multiple locations, you may want to put the store number up there as well. That way you can keep up with it. But down here, you can change the type of question that you have, anything from a multiple choice to a checkbox to a drop box. And if you just type in what the question is going to be, Google will try its best to figure out what the type of question it is. So maybe the first question will be, what was your experience in our store? So that may be our first question. As always, we'll want to ask the question of, can we contact you? Find out about the experience, see what we can do, possibly if it's something that would be really simple to answer. And if we can, I would just go ahead and leave a section for your name, as well as their email address and a way to get a hold of them via telephone if you'd like to. And so once we have all that information put in there, there's a couple other little things you can do. If you want to try and keep with our UPS Store blue, you can change the color right there, even throw in a header if you would like to have a certain type of image up there. You can also, and whenever you're ready to go, there's a couple other options in here, but we won't get too much into that. Once you get it ready to go, you can just go ahead and hit send right here. And then, oops, sorry, we will not press send right there. We will, once we are ready to be finished with this, we're just going to hit add collaborators, and there's going to be our link to be able to access this form. So you'll see if I copy this right here and log out of our Google account. As soon as we come here, here's our Google Experience form. So it's really important that we hold on to this link for the form because we're going to need that a little bit later. So I've got that link. I'm just going to come over here to a Word document and save it right here. Google Doc form. We're going to need a few other pieces of information that we're going to have to keep up with later. The second thing that we're going to need to do is find out, you'll notice whenever in our original email that we had set up, it took us directly to our Google review, and not just to our Google page, but directly to the place to be able to leave a review. It's really important that we make it super easy for our customers. Oh, I logged out. But it's super important that we make it really easy for our customers, so we don't even want to take them just to our Google page. We want the box to actually pop up with the stars. So all they have to do is either click on their iPhone or press the button on the screen. And it's just as much work to actually get out of it as it is to just go ahead and leave the review. So in order to do that, you're going to need to come to this particular website, which I will have attached in the guide. But you can, if instead of looking for that, you can also Google find my Google Place ID. And this is going to be the place where you're going to need to go to. So once you've found this website, you're going to come down here and you're going to add your location. So we'll do this. I'll do this for my UPS store location on 701 South Howard Avenue. So you'll see it's already popped up for me right there. And I can double check to make sure that it's got this pin right in the right spot. And you'll see that my place ID is this little piece of information right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Put it right here. And then whenever we want to create that review website, this is going to be the main piece of the website. You'll see that we're supposed to copy all of this except for the place where it's asking us to insert the place ID. So go ahead and type that in right there. And then the place ID is going to equal this number right here. So we'll copy and paste that all in. Now, this piece of information we'll put all together. Oh, had an extra little space in there. It's going to take us directly to our review page. Go ahead and fix that little space that was here. Perfect. That makes a lot more sense. So now we've got the link to our review site. So now that we have all the individual pieces that we're going to need, we're going to go ahead and put all of this together in Constant Contact. If you haven't created an account, it's really easy to do. You can just go to ConstantContact.com, sign up with your UPS Store email address. There's a promo code on the hub that'll give you 40% off at the moment. It's TUPSS 2018. I don't know how long that could be active there, but I've already got an account set up, so I'm going to go ahead and click through. Once your account is set up, after about an hour or two, it's going to sync up to where you have predefined templates from the UPS Store corporate. You can get to those by coming into My Campaign, and then to create your first email, you're just going to hit Create. Eventually, we're going to create an email automation, but I think it's easiest to just go ahead and create the email separately and then copy it as an email automation. That may not make a lot of sense to you right now, but we will circle back to that in a little bit. So whenever you get to this page, there's two different sections. You're going to see one that says the UPS Store Corporate, and then the one that says the UPS Store New. They're not crazy different. There's a little bit slightly different templates and a little bit different pictures, but the most important thing to note is that these under the UPS Store Corporate are using one of the older Constant Contact editing formats versus the UPS Store New have a new editing format, which is a lot easier to use, but it's extremely more restricted, probably by UPS. But so we are going to need a little bit more editing capability than we're going to be able to get under those new forms. So we're going to need to select one of these from over here in UPS Store Corporate. So you can select any of these. It really doesn't matter all that much which one you choose, because we are going to adjust it pretty substantially. I believe on ours we chose this one that says online reviews, because it was pretty close to what I was going for without having to make too many adjustments. So we'll make our life a little bit easier on ourselves when we can. So the first thing you're going to need to do is come over here and you're going to be able to adjust the subject line. I think that this is a fine starting point. I like to kind of keep it a little, I'm trying to create a headline that's going to be something a little different than everything else in their email. So, you can certainly set with this. I believe on most of ours we have the little phrasing of "be honest, how was your visit?" That way it feels a little bit more casual and a lot less corporate formal. You can make that certainly your own. I do recommend keeping the UPS Store email address as being the from website. Now over here, we're going to need to create another text box so that we've got our regular information down here below, but we also have the reviews front and center. We obviously want to give people, I want this to be something that they can pick up on their phone, open the email, immediately see the stars, click on the stars, and be done. And just be able to get everything taken care of in 30 seconds or less. So I'm going to come in here with this text box and go ahead and delete out all of this information because we don't need any of that. And what we're going to do to recreate this section of the email is we're actually going to make a little grid just like you would see in Excel. It's just going to be a 5x2 grid with 5 stars going across the top and 5 sets of words going across the bottom. So you can come over here and you'll see this little picture of a grid right here. It's just going to ask you to select your table. So once again, we're going to go 5 over, 2 down, and it's going to go ahead and slide those in. The next thing we're going to need to do is insert an image of a star. So you can come over here to images. You'll see that I've already got one in here uploaded, but if you don't have one uploaded, you can feel free to just go ahead and come over here and upload a file yourself using this little button right here. I personally created my star using Adobe Illustrator. Really simple and straightforward. There's just a little star tool over here. It may have looked by default like a rectangle on your screen, but you can just switch it over to a star. Stretch it out a little bit, center it, and this will be a perfectly good star. That's where we got ours. But once again, you can just find this online or use any of the other editing tools to create your star if you'd like to. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag this little thing in right here. I'm a little bit OCD, so whenever I drag it in here, I'm probably going to center it, and I'm also going to, you'll notice that it's sitting up at the top instead of right in the middle. So you're going to oh, there's a little space right down there at the bottom. Excuse me. So once again, now that we've got the star in here, we can go ahead and do this a few more times. So I accidentally made that one a little bit larger than I would have liked, so I'm going to go in here and make it a little bit smaller. So again, I'm just going to go in here, line, center, line, center. Cut this in, line, center, delete out the space. All right, perfect. So that's going to be the stars that you're going to need. The next part of what we're going to do in this email is going to be to create a little text going on across the bottom. So you can make this grid whatever you would like to see it be. I'm going to just go with the words terrible, poor, average, good, and great. Going to need to take each of these again and center them. Now for the fun part. We have everything set up exactly how we want, and you'll see it sitting right across how we would like. So now we just, but right now if you go to click on any of these things, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to sit there. So we need to add a little bit of functionality to these images that we put in. So what we want to do is we want to link each of the individual images and text to an actual website to be able to take them to. So the first one is going to be that Google Forms website that we created at the first part of this training. Once again, I just kept a little link of all of these. So I'm going to copy this. And before I put too much work into this, I'm going to double check and make sure that it's still taking us to the form correctly. It is. Fantastic. So now to add this hyperlink, you've got two different ways that you can go about doing this. Option one would be to hit hyperlink right here and then type in the URL. I don't recommend that method because it doesn't give you quite as much control and you may end up hyperlinking something besides what you're actually wanting to. So what you can do is click on the item that you want, a little gear icon will appear, and then hit change. You'll see that you can take this image and actually make it a clickable link. So that's what we're going to want to do. We want to just go ahead and paste in that information and then hit insert. And so now we'll just go ahead and do that for every single one of our items here. And I personally am going to not want somebody to leave me a review anytime they have less than a 4 or 5 because I'm aiming for a 4.5 star review, but you guys can update that just to your preferences. Now for the text, I do think that this section right here is totally fine for inputting the text link. So we'll just go ahead and pop that in there. You'll see that it lined it underneath, indicating that it is now a hyperlink. So we'll go ahead and pop that in there again. Perfect. And one last time. Great. So now we're going to link people to our review page. So remember, we made this review link earlier today. Go ahead and copy that. Let's make sure that it's still working okay. Once again, we want it to pop all the way up to where it's actually leaving the review, not just to the store site. So that's working well. We'll go ahead and type in change, make it a clickable link, insert, change, make it a clickable link. Perfect. We'll just get the two text on here. Now our email interaction is perfect. So now I would take a couple extra minutes to go ahead and tailor all of this as you will. I would adjust some of the language in here just to be a little bit more personal to your store. Obviously don't want to leave some of these individual pieces in here. So I'm going to leave you guys to making these edits. In our email locations, what we did is we went ahead and just updated the language a little bit, and we did actually add little links for people to go to our Google page to leave a review, our Yelp page, and our Facebook to leave a review directly there. So you guys can do that by adding going to this little social section up here at the top, and it gives you the option to add a little button for like on Facebook, like on Twitter, LinkedIn. You'll just drag these right in here, and it's going to ask you what kind of button. I recommend this one. This is the current one that most different websites are using. Then you're going to need to come in here and just put in your Facebook page's URL. It will try to do this by default, but it's not always 100% right. So especially a lot of times it adds X's right there to the end. So certainly come in here and make sure you've got the right page. And you can just go ahead and press insert. Then whenever I did this, I added the Google Plus, and instead of adding the normal website, I just added the actual write a review website, so the exact same one that we had from earlier. I would just use that website right there, so we can just copy and paste that right in. Oh, no, that's not what we wanted. Once again, I really like using the actual squares instead of the bigger bars. They look a little bit older. And then, of course, Yelp, always. And once again, I recommend, instead of leaving just the Yelp, I would actually go in and use a little square and lead them directly to the review page, not just your Yelp page. So once you get all of those done, you can go ahead and save that. We've got all of the wording updated in there. So you can feel free to make any other adjustments you would like, but when you get done, just make sure you press save and go ahead and press continue. You can add in your little campaign name. I'm going to just call this Demo 1. And then don't schedule this at the current time. You can just say, no, just don't worry about any of this stuff. You've already got it saved, so don't worry about doing anything with the email. Now that you've got the email 100% set up and ready to go, when you go back into campaigns, you'll see that your email is right there at the very top. Demo 1 is what I saved mine. And so what we are now going to do is we're going to try and tell Constant Contact what we want to do with this email. So what I would like to do with my email is whenever I type this into Constant Contact, right after the customer leaves and we then put their shipping information into CMS, I want to immediately put their email into Constant Contact and send them this email that says, hey, how was your experience? So in order to do that, we need to tell Constant Contact, hey, when I input this email address, send them this email immediately. That can be done in the email automation section of Constant Contact. It's really simple. You're just going to come in here and create. You do have to have a pro Constant Contact account. However, I think that it's well worth it to be able to get a really timely, immediate email for whenever people sign up. And it's going to ask you what list you want to apply your customers to. You can create a lot of different lists. I won't really go into it today, but I'd say for your typical shipping customers, have a specific list for just them to use. That way, only your customers that are coming in immediately are receiving this email immediately, and not necessarily somebody that you dumped in from CMS or Mailbox Manager who may not be quite as privy to leave a 5-star review. So you can call this autoresponder anything you want, just for the sake of this demo. And then it's going to also ask you if you want to create a new email or copy an existing email. That's where I told you could create it either place, but I like to just go ahead and have it created. That way, if I ever want to adjust it later. You'll see that I can select this demo 1 email that I created earlier today. And it's going to take me right back here to this editor. I can make sure that everything looks good. I think that looks great. So now we're going to go ahead and press continue. And it's now going to say that we are ready to go. We can just press active, and as soon as you hit active, it's immediately going to go into place. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video on how to leave 5-star reviews. Hope you have a great rest of the day.